We are back and going straight to your calls. Let's go to Robert in California. Robert, you're online. Yes, sir.
Hi, Jason. I was just watching your video there on your website. Unbelievable. I got to tell Glenn Beck, in case he's listening to this show, that he's a liar, and I'm a 911 truther. Just recently came over. I was on the other side. I supported the war. I thought we had a just cause, and I looked at the evidence and saw that 3 buildings came down very similar to each other, and I wasn't gullible enough to believe that burning fuel that isn't hot would take down 3 buildings, especially a third.
Sir,
building.
you just don't understand the mechanics. Al-Qaeda are magicians, and through magic, they were able to bring down World Trade Center 1, 2, and 7. It's definitely an Al-Qaeda operation, sir.
Yeah, the cave dwellers did it. I'm just amazed. I mean, what a liar to get up there, and how dare he call anybody who wants the truth on what happened on 9/11 when I watched 3,000 of my fellow citizens get fried to death, and that we don't have a right to compare us to terrorists is just to
someone who just went into a museum and shot a security guard. That's the kind of, we're rooting on the killers out there, the nuts that walk in with a rifle and shoot an innocent security guard. We think he's a hero, according to Glenn Beck. Listen, you can do one better. Instead of calling me and bitching about Glenn Beck, we need callers tomorrow on the Glenn Beck show. Tell him a phony topic. Tell him it's about the Federal Reserve 1207. Tell him it's about this guy saying that, the Fed is going to shut down if it's audited. Tell him anything to get on the air, and then say, how dare you compare 9/11 truth to white supremacy and Nazis, and how dare you portray this murderer as a hero to people who are seeking answers to the darkest day in American history. What else you got for me, Robert?
Well, one thing quickly, and I'll let you go. With this flu, you were talking about them wanting to put out a level 6.
Mm-hmm.
I work at a big store here in the San Diego area. I won't name the store, but one of my coworkers who has no idea what's going on out there had told me that he and his wife had a phone call from the county here in San Diego asking if they were going to be vaccinating their children for the upcoming flu. And I'm trying to get a website from him. I haven't been able to get that yet, but the county
did
is
polls.
making phone calls.
Yeah, they did polls probably about 2-3 weeks ago to see how many people had been fooled by this swine flu hype. And in the headline, it said less than 30% would take the swine flu vaccination. Now, you actually read the article, it's less than 20%. It's 18%. See, that's how the media lies. They up the numbers in the headline to try to make themselves look a little bit better, but it was only 18%. That's why we have the Obama administration saying, well, we might just have to make it a law that you have to take 3 shots. And we played that clip. It's over at the Infowarrior.com right now, in the archives. And then on top of that, it doesn't even matter, because if they go to level 6, they immediately suspend your constitutional rights, and they can invoke Executive Order 13375. That's if they don't shoot you in the back of the head. They just send you to jail for a year and fine you $250,000 not to take the death shot. I thank you for the call. Let's go to the next Robert. Robert in Georgia, you're online.
Yeah, I'll take the bullet in the back of the head before I take the vaccination. I spoke to you briefly when you were on the line with Salenti, and it's always a pleasure, to talk to fellow thought criminals and people who choose to exercise their freedom of speech right.
Mm-hmm.
But I was calling. Point I wanted to get across to people last night, and I didn't get the opportunity. I know you're in a hurry. Is that we have got to just plow through this and not be afraid.
That's right. We can't let fear paralyze us. When we let fear paralyze us and we're indecisive on what our actions are going to be, they love it. They love people going, oh, the government's going to get us. I can't do anything. They want us to feel small. They want us to feel like we can't make a difference. The key is to have the will to be the bigger man, the will to make a difference, the will to expose people to the truth, the Constitution, and the Bill of Rights.
We are the insurgents.
And we are back. Cindy Sheehan, scheduled to be in studio, just arriving in the next few minutes. I want to do a bit of a news blitz before we have her in studio. 1 click away from a cop. Yes, in Germany, it's now going to be so easy to tattletale on your neighbors, you won't even have to call the police if you think they're doing something that's illegal. And remember, they have the little police tattletale squads where you're part of this network of police officers, citizen officers that can report on environmental crimes. Well, now you're one click away. The Autobahn has SOS phones for motorists in need. Now police want to launch a similar service for the German internet. Soon, those who stumble across dubious web content may be just a click away from the authorities. So this also intertwines with the Cybersecurity Act and such. Yeah, let's just bring her in. If she's ready to go, that sounds great. So I guess we're going to have her in just 5 minutes early, folks, so you get a little bit of a treat. Cindy Sheehan, I mean, what can you say about her? For the past 5 years, she really has been the voice of the anti-war movement. She's done probably more than anybody to bring awareness to the illegal occupation in Iraq, and she puts her money where her mouth is. You know, she's ran for Congress, challenged Pelosi on her seat, really got beyond the left-right paradigm, and said, you know what, if she's not going to impeach Bush for war crimes, if she's not going to promote, you know, us getting out of the Middle East, well, I'm going to do something about it. I'm going to run for that congressional seat. How are you tonight, Cindy?
I'm pretty exhausted.
Pretty exhausted?
Yeah.
I'm okay. Yeah, you've been doing a lot. Why don't you tell people why you're in Austin?
I wrote a book in February called Myth America, 10 Greatest Myths of the Robber Class in a Case for Revolution. And I put it out to my list that I wanted to go on book tour. And so a lot of my supporters said, sure. And so I organized a Texas tour. I was in Dallas. You may have heard we protested in front of George Bush's house. And then Waco last night. And then I have several events here in Austin till Saturday.
So what are the main 10 points that you're going through in this new book?
We were on TV.
Yeah. We're sort of on TV. We're you don't look bad. We're on internet TV. And yes, it will be big on the web.
I'm tired.
Yes. So what are these 10 points? The robber class, by the way. It does look like you are getting beyond left and right, Democrat and Republican.
Those labels don't make any sense at all. You know, I try to define, well, people on the left, people on the right, but they don't make sense. You know, as the people on the little bit left of right center, you know, like Obama, Democrats, people like that. So those labels don't make sense to me anymore. If Obama's on the left, then where am I? You know, I'm not even on the scale.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Exactly. So what pushed you into running for Congress? Now, you made a pretty good run. You got a little less than 20% of the vote. I was hoping you were going to win.
Yeah,
you know,
I really tried.
Obviously. And you ran in a tough district. I mean, you went to California and you moved to San Francisco so that you could challenge Pelosi. And to me, you know, I've never been a fan of Pelosi. I've been able to see through her game. She was one of the initial investigators into the initial congressional report on 9/11, which we have 27 pages redacted. As soon as the Democrats got in 2006, and I mean, you had a push on that. We were hoping that the war was going to end, that they were going to force the illegal occupation out. Didn't happen.
No.
She immediately got out there and said, well, we're not even going to charge them with war crimes, and we're just going to toe the party line.
Off the table.
Off the table. And, you know, then people said, well, once we get Obama into office, well, we're going to get out of Iraq and Afghanistan. And their open plans say that we're going to have 50,000 troops there, non-combat, of course, until 2011 December. Then we're going to make decisions.
Well, I think John McCain was right when he said that our troops would be there 50 or 100 years. They're still in Korea. They're still in Japan. They're still in Germany. You know, so of course we're going to leave a residual force there. That's what our military does. And, you know, I live in California. I'm a born and raised Californian, so moving to San Francisco wasn't that big of a deal to me, but it was a very, very tough district. You know, I wrote a book called Myth America, 10 Greatest Myths of the Robber Class. One that I didn't include because it's not one of the greatest myths is that San Francisco is liberal. You know, San Francisco is democratic, and there's nothing liberal about, like you said, mainstream Democrats or the Democratic Party leadership. They're not liberal. They're not progressive at all. You know. So, and then Nancy Pelosi, of course, is not a progressive. She's as
establishment as it gets.
Absolutely. I call her the queen of the robber class. And so that's right. And so I went to San Francisco, somebody who's well known in that community, somebody who has sacrificed a lot, who did have a very progressive, humanist-based platform. And, you know, like you said, I got a little less than 20% of the vote. I got about 50,000 votes, but we were really running to win. We ran really hard.
Why don't you tell people what that's like? Because, we got a lot of listeners here that say, oh, what can I do? What can I do? Everybody feels so helpless. Now, you not only got out and did something, I mean, you were really the voice of the anti-war movement when it was hip, when it was anti-Bush. Then the media kind of drew away from you once the Democrats got into office, and you didn't get as much coverage, even though you were striving for the same thing. That's probably when you made the decision, well, I better run for office and take this into my own hands. How does that process go?